All right, well, welcome to the penultimate session today on equitable growth and poverty eradication, measurement programs and policies. I'm James Foster, and I work in poverty measurement, but from an economist's point of view. We have a couple of speakers today who will take different points of view: political science, demography. We're looking very much forward to hearing from both of our guests. The first guest up today is Anirudh Krishna from Duke University, who will be presenting Hidden Dimensions of Equity and Poverty Reduction, the Tasks Ahead. Anirudh.
Jim, thank you, the organizers, for inviting me, and thank you all for being brave enough to sit through the day and still be here. I'm working on a book manuscript on some of the same topics, so it's a great opportunity for me to rehearse some of these arguments, if I can find them. All right, here we are. It's good to start with this graph, which is really simple and helps me locate where India is compared to other countries and where I think it's going in the future. So it's a simple graph to read. Can I step here? Can you still hear me? Okay, let me shout. The horizontal axis measures the successive 10% divisions of the world's wealth distribution. So the poorest people in the world are on the left, the richest people in the world are on the right. In each country's stream graph, the width at any particular point represents the percentage of that country's population which is in that wealth bracket. If you don't mind, just slide that into Okay, good. That helps. Better?
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you. Do you want me to rewind and start again? Let's keep going. So if you were, for instance, to look at Malawi's stream graph, the largest percentage of that country's population is in the poorest 30% of the world's wealth ranking. And by the time you come to about the 50th percentile, the entire population is accounted for. So it's a poor country with poor people. If you were to look conversely at Australia or Japan, the largest percentage of people are among the richest 10%, and the entire population of the country is in the top 30% of the world's wealth distribution. Rich country, rich people. Now look at the stream graph for India and for China. India's stream graph is pretty much almost like an oblong. Some of the poorest people in the world are in India, and some of the richest people in the world are in India. There's only a small percentage, 3 or 4 or 5% of Indians who are in the top 30%, but each percentage point in India is the size of Belgium. So there are 3 or 4 Belgiums in India who are among the richest people, and a couple of Africas who are among the poorest people. What does that do? That makes the task of governance excessively difficult, because the entire range of lifestyles and aspirations on the planet is captured in microcosm within India. The Indian state, we heard some things about the Indian state earlier today, but the Indian state has to simultaneously appeal to rich people's concerns, like maglev railroads and modern airports. At the same time, it has to appeal to poor people's concerns, like one-room schoolhouses and basic toilets. These are the kinds of things that historically countries have done at very different periods in their economic histories. But India has to do all of these tasks at the same time. That's what some economists have called compressed development. Now, since this session is concerned with equity and poverty reduction, I'm going to confine the rest of my remarks to that topic. And I think that the key equity objective is how to take more people from the left side of the stream graph to the right side in the future. It's also important to take more people from the right side further to the right, but I think for the sake of the equity and poverty reduction objective, taking people from here and trying to put them here and here is the most important task ahead. That in turn leads to three critical but mostly hidden tasks. These are tasks that have not been well performed in the past, in large part because the understanding of these tasks is deficient, and that in turn is deficient because the data and the methods to study those phenomena are deficient. The first of these is the problem of vulnerability, the problem of falling into poverty. I will make the claim that India has one of the highest rates of falling into poverty of any country on the planet. Sure, poverty in India overall, at the very low poverty line that the Indian government considers, has fallen from about 45% in the mid-1990s to about 21 or 22% at the present time. But still, more than 60% of people in India fall below the more appropriate $2 poverty line, and more than 80% in rural India. And about the same number, 70 to 80%, are near poor or vulnerable to falling into poverty. That's an important underdone task, which I will expand on a little bit more. The second and complementary task is social mobility, not simply raising somebody above the poverty line. But if you have an individual who is poor, but who's also very bright and very hardworking, simply raising them above a low poverty line is a very easy target, compared to giving this individual a position commensurate with her or his capabilities. And on that front too, India has not been performing very well. The third and the last thing I'll talk about, if I'm able to reach it, is growing urban poverty. A great deal is known and a great deal of good methods have been developed to study rural poverty. But as the economy becomes increasingly urbanized, which previous speakers have spoken about, so too does poverty. And poverty in urban context is understudied and not well understood.